sea turtles still exist. Despite the best efforts of transnational corporations to destroy all the ecosystems, according to this random graph I found in Google Images, the sea turtle population is rising. To solve this, I decided to do my part by making a plastic straw cannon. Okay, hold up, time out. Hello, it is me, a continuity error, and I just want to quickly go over the different potential mechanisms for launching straws at high speeds and explain why I went with the one that I did. Every time you pick up a drinking straw, you probably think to yourself, this is a really poorly optimized high-speed projectile. And I know I think the same thing. The issue is that, for one thing, it has a hole straight down the middle. This means that it's both quite light and quite fragile. It can just completely crunch up. Additionally, it's quite long and thin, meaning that it has to be launched like a spear, and if you try launching it sideways, it won't really fly well. With these limitations in mind, let's discuss some potential mechanisms that would allow us to launch these straws at high speeds. Now, one idea would be something like a catapult, where you have an arm that swings forward with the straw mounted on the end. It releases when the straw is taking straight in the direction of the motion so that it can then launch the straw out. The issue with this is that due to how light a straw is, you're wasting most of your energy just accelerating the arm of the catapult and then stopping it, while the straw takes a very small portion of that energy with it. This leads me on to another potential idea. Could have a bow or crossbow style mechanism where the straw basically acted like a bolt or an arrow and would be loaded and then launched. The issue with this is that it relies on the stiffness of the straw itself, and you could technically make a mechanism like this that then had a carriage that would slide on some sort of linear rails, and that carriage would hold the straw, but I chose not to do that because it's boring. The idea I ended up going with is an air cannon. This is the air tank that stores the compressed air. This is where all of the energy comes from. Then I just have this welded on bung here to allow me to connect this union to this valve. This is solenoid valve. When you apply power to these two wires here, it almost instantaneously opens up the valve to let all of the air in this tank flow through this barrel, which is just a piece of PVC pipe. One final issue, which some of you may have noticed if you've ever picked up a straw, is that they have a hole through the middle. And what this means is that you can't actually use an air cannon to blow on it. My solution to this is to make a 3D printed carriage that holds the straw on one end and has a flat back on the other end so that the air can blow on the back, accelerating the carriage and the straw, and then eventually the carriage will hit some sort of stop, allowing the straw to keep going and the carriage to stop before it leaves the barrel. If we go to the test over here, that didn't exactly work. So as you can see from this test, the stop basically did nothing. I mean, like, what is this? The side hooks of the stop just kind of sat there, and then the slide just continued on with the straw and punched straight through the box. So in response to this, I thought, well, I should just make an aluminum stop, because if the plastic 3D printed one broke, an aluminum one should be significantly stronger and would most likely solve the problem. So after all the cutting and drilling and getting all of that assembled, I tested it and just went straight through the stop with basically zero resistance. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself because we haven't even done the build montage. I will be shocked if this holds there. It's just, I welded it kind of just all loose, and I'm just squatting down welding it, but it doesn't look too bad. Maybe we'll be lucky. If you like this video so far, please subscribe. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe in the future. I'm trying a lot of different things with my content, so I would understand if you become disinterested and unsubscribe, but I'm also doing a lot of pretty cool things. So if you want to subscribe, it helps out the channel and makes it so that I can do more interesting projects. Now that we've gone over how the air cannon works and is made, and that we've discussed the carriage stops that failed, let's discuss what might potentially work to stop the straw carriage so that we can actually fire a straw. So the idea that I have is to add a compression spring inside of the barrel right at the end, so that when the carriage comes through, it hits the compression spring, starts slowing down, and then the straw continues because of its momentum. And that's where this comes in. It is 3D printed out of TPU, which is a rubber-like material. This should work perfectly to... This is the closest thing to a successful test that we have so far. The carriage did stop. You can tell that the straw was moving at quite a high speed. I calculated about this many feet per second, or this many meters per second. I guess you could call this a success. It's a bit anticlimactic because despite launching a straw at this many miles per hour, nothing really happened. I do have a few ideas of how I could make this work significantly better, potentially using something similar to the vacuum cannons that Smarter Every Day used to launch a baseball. And if you want to see that, stick around and comment down below so that I know.